This is Lauren. I'm here again with another incredible story that I'm excited to hear about because it's going to be my first time hearing a lot of Lee's story of how you got into tech in the way that you did. So you'll have to just start at the very, very beginning for me. But initially, we met you through our apprenticeship program. You are in the Chicago area. So it's just an incredible story of how we've met you and gotten to know you and gotten to see you grow in your career. So I will let you take it away and tell us how you found Build Carolina, how you found our apprenticeship, and kind of an overview of how you got to where you are right now.
Absolutely. Thanks, Lauren. Happy to be here. So I am definitely someone who's always been a lifelong learner, which is evidenced by the fact that I've changed my career 3 or 4 times. So I actually started in journalism and earned my bachelor's degree in English. Briefly kind of went into horticulture, got really interested in the local food movement and sustainable agriculture. Did that for a little bit, made my way into the nonprofit sector, which is where I stayed for about 5 years working in fundraising and marketing. But what I found was kind of the most exciting parts of my job were some of the more technical pieces. So working in our CRM, pulling data, going through our data, working on WordPress, which is, a low code platform, but just, managing the back end of a website. Like I was asked to do a big data migration and move our CRM from one to the other. And I'm like, oh my God, yes, I'm so excited.
And I'm over here like,
Yeah. Same with my team members at the time. Um, so so there was that happening. And then so I again just kind of had this like growing interest in how is software built? How are websites built? What are kind of the building blocks? And without going into too much detail, there were some, things going on in my life at the time, personally and professionally, just was generally kind of going through it. Um, and I also met someone who's very special to me now, who is a personal and professional mentor, who's trans, who I met, and they're a senior software developer. And I immediately was like, oh my God, tell me everything. I have so many questions. I need to know exactly, what you're doing, how you got into this. Um, so I think it was kind of like a culmination of things kind of pushing me in this direction, kind of a growing interest. And then, of course, seeing someone who is like you in the field, in a field that, previously I had very, kind of a perception of what a software developer looks like or what someone in tech looks like. And wasn't sure if I kind of fit that, right? So honestly, I just kind of made the leap and took a huge risk. I did my research and found a coding boot camp, which is the way a lot of people enter this field. I enrolled in Actualized Coding Boot Camp, which is Chicago based. So I wanted a boot camp that was allowing me to network within my area. I knew that that was going to be important. Also loved that it was live online and also focused on quality instruction. So having, teachers as, people with previous educational experience, was important to me. So I did that in January 2023, enrolled in that boot camp 4 months long. So I would be learning how to code during the day, and then I would go work at a restaurant in the evening. So it was kind of just, working my butt off to make that happen. Was fortunate to be able to work as a teaching assistant for another 4 months after that.
oh, cool.
Yeah. Which again, you learn so much from teaching others, right? As we know. And, then it came time for my job search. And I actually heard about the Build Carolina apprenticeship through someone in the Actualize alumni network,
Nice.
who was working at Booz Allen Hamilton, my current employer. And immediately, I think what struck me about the program was just this kind of like holistic approach, that you're getting hands-on learning working at a company. You have classroom instruction, so you're learning all of these tech industry concepts and fundamentals that you I honestly didn't know that I needed. But 100% was like, how did I not know this? I'm glad that I had this learning experience. And then, of course, the mentorship piece of Build Carolina was so instrumental in being successful in this program.
Mm. It's
Um,
very cool. Like the before you go into like more details about in the next like chunk of our conversation, because it's going to shift a little bit. I think it's really just pointing out how you just kind of took one step in front of the other and just said, "Ooh, this is interesting to me, and this is really like I'm going to find someone who does the thing that I'm very interested in, and I'm going to talk to them and get close to them and really find out what that's like and how it's impacted their lives for better or for worse, or like what's the challenges and also what are the benefits of it." Um, and it shows that it does take. I mean, you just listed off I don't know how long your career was before, but
mhm,
just being able to have a few smaller doors opened just to get
mhm.
you the taste of it, of technology. And that, like you mentioned, I think a lot of us watching or sitting have been in that position of like, it's not for me. It can't be for
Yeah,
me. Like, there's no way, or it's too late for me. I can't do this because it's going to take me X amount of time to even do it. So I just wanted to say, like, those are the things I'm hearing, like, as you're talking about your beginning of just even getting to the point of finding the place to get the skills is really
yeah,
impressive. Just trusting that you like something, trusting what's interesting to you, and then
yes,
keeping going.
100%. I think having, and I've heard many other people kind of talk through just the importance of having curiosity, the importance of having, kind of a resilient learning mindset. Those are so key. And of course, you know, as I was doing this job search, as we know, the job search is hard in general, but it's even harder when you're a career changer, right?
Because
Because
this was so now we're in
well,
2024,
this
or are we in 2020, end of
we're in,
2023?
we're in 2023, so I
Yeah.
guess kind of going back to before I, um, was accepted to the Build Carolina apprenticeship program. I'm in this job search, and I think there's kind of this sense of, maybe not only am I a traditional candidate, but I'm a career changer. I don't have a 4-year computer science degree. And there's kind of this sense of, am I being considered in the same way? Am I being given a chance? And I knew that I brought a lot to the table, for an employer and had a lot of awesome skills that would be valuable to an employer. But I just needed someone to give me a chance. I needed that first
Mm.
role. Because everyone wants, 1 to 3 years of experience for a junior developer. But then, okay, well, who's going to give me that experience, right? Like I need to be able to
Yep.
have that hands-on experience. And I think that's when the Build Carolina apprenticeship really help me bridge that gap, and get me career ready. And I like to say that I think career changers, I think non traditional candidates, I think there's a little bit of an edge that we bring to the market that is really valuable to employers, because in a lot of ways we are underdogs, right? There's kind of that like underdog mindset where you have a lot of grit, you have a lot of perseverance, you have a lot of this. Well, I'm going to prove that I belong here.
Mm.
I'm going to prove that I can do this. And even, I had some people in my life that were kind of doubting, like, are you sure you're going to do this? Are you sure? Like, you're going to make this huge career change and all that? And it was really just for me, like, just you wait, you know?
Oh.
So I think there's kind of that mindset of pluck and determination that is really something that's valuable from an employer perspective, because number one, we're going to work really really hard. Number two, very eager to learn, not afraid to make mistakes. There's no ego there that's, oh, I have this 4-year degree, or I have all of this experience and kind of like my set ways of doing things. So I think we're very coachable, from an employer perspective. And certainly during my apprenticeship, I felt, I was really an integrated member of the team and was able to start contributing right away, and really adapt my team's, processes, procedures, all of that. And again, was just able to be coachable, So I think from an employer perspective, hiring apprentices is super, super valuable. And you gain a lot that, you might not see from a candidate just from seeing a resume and not seeing a 4-year degree or not seeing,
Yeah.
certain experience, right?
Yeah, I think you nailed it. And you said you worked in the restaurant because I found this when I
Yep.
was working in restaurants that you had to become a server, you had to have experience. It was just interesting that it doesn't matter what industry you're getting into, that is the gap and that is a window. So apprenticeships are not new because they've met that like you need to learn under skilled, experienced teammates and leaders and mentors.
Hmm.
And tech, we have found tech is it fits really well in that space, and we do it in 6 months. So you spent 6 months on the job and in a virtual classroom, like you said, learning the things that you didn't even know you needed to learn that you
Yep.
wish you had would have already learned in the 8 months that you were learning and teaching. And I think
Mm,
it's interesting that the biggest that's what the apprenticeship is for. It is to take people who are hungry, determined. You wait and see. I'm gonna figure this out and like pave your own way.
yes.
And making sure those people find the companies that can benefit and will support and allow that person to thrive and bring even more return. I just think, yeah, it's really important to point out that there are some really stellar qualities about people who force their way in essentially and will not give up until they have found the door to go through. Um,
100%.
and I
100%.
love I love that you found us because
Yeah.
we can serve people out of our state. So it's really cool. Like we are a South Carolina based nonprofit, and our apprenticeship is South Carolina based essentially, but it's virtual. Our classroom is virtual, and the employer, so it's like in your case, the employer is a South Carolina based employer who benefits from talent that they would have never found before that has, like you
Mm,
said, day one contributed immediately. And then the reverse is true. We have South Carolina candidates who maybe will have some out of state employers, and we would hope to help match that. And then hopefully also South Carolina based apprentices and companies match very well together too. So we have a couple more minutes and to talk because I we could just probably talk all day because I have so many more questions. But I do want to hear just any advice, kind of like the inspirational moment of our of our conversation, of which is nah, you've already shared so much of just throughout, sprinkled throughout with your grit, determination. I'm gonna watch and see. I love that mantra almost.
mhm.
Um, but for the person who's in the job search, who is looking for the right fit, the next thing, maybe they're not as confident in finding it, and they've put out hundreds of applications, as we know, as part of that process. What do we say to them in that phase of this tech career journey?
Absolutely. The number one thing I love to say is the journey only ends when you decide it ends. And it's as simple as that. When you decide that this isn't something you want to do anymore, then that's that. But if you are determined and you want to make this happen, you will make it happen. And I genuinely believe that. I would say the other advice is surround yourself with supportive people. Seek out those mentorships. Like if you aren't in a structured program that I was fortunate to be in with Build Carolina apprenticeship, where I had amazing built-in mentors. Seek out those mentors. Who are those people in your life? What are those connections that you can make? Someone to go to for advice, someone to go to vent in this process. But genuinely, it ends when you decide that it ends. And as long as you keep approaching things with that learning mindset and that curiosity to learn, right?
Mm,
Keeping up with projects, looking into new technologies that you want to play around with. Again, kind of finding other tech peers or mentors who can look at your projects, give you advice. One thing I've really, really enjoyed that I wish I would have known earlier is teaming up with a peer on a partner project. Not only are you keeping up with your skills, you're learning maybe a new technology or kind of honing your skills in one language or framework. There's that accountability piece that's really important, especially when, you start to get down. I mean, there were definitely a lot of times where I was getting down on myself in this process. It's tough. But having a peer who wants to build something with you, who you can learn from, you can help each other, you have that accountability to kind of work on something together. You're able to build your portfolio, I think, a little quicker than,
Mm.
oh, I'm just going to only work on this project by myself. And, as I hit roadblocks, maybe I'm losing steam kind of a thing. I think having a partner with that really helps. And, of course, it is another marketable skill of like, oh, I've collaboratively built this, which when you think about it, I mean, that's all of our tech teams in the real world. Like you're never going to be building something in isolation. You're always going to be collaborating. So I would say that's something I would really recommend as well to someone.
I'm taking notes. I think that that's a really cool, it's built into the apprenticeship that you did build a project with your former, well, current also passion of agriculture and food
Mhm.
security. So that's really cool. We'll have to do a demo of that another time.
Yeah.
But this peer project of building something, because what I know about myself, if I don't bring in some accountability, um, not only will I maybe push the deadline out a little bit, but it really will be, um, I won't finish it. Like I won't let good enough be good enough to just be done with it or make it
Mhm.
complete or make it something that I can then show. Like I just always will keep moving the target. And I
Yes.
think that accountability, your person you're working with is like, look, we've done like this is good enough. Let's put it out. Let's see what people do and let's iterate. Let's
Yes.
keep going. And I think that that's an important key thing of the personal projects while you're in this process can be so unending and
Yes.
can never be done if we
Yes.
don't find somebody that helps us make it be done.
Oh my gosh, that is exactly like nail on the head. Because that's actually something I did struggle with as well. Is I, almost delayed my job search at one point because I was like, my projects aren't good enough. They're not finished. You
Yeah.
know, I'll start applying for jobs when I feel like my projects are more polished or like when fill in the blank.
Yeah.
And the reality is it's never finished. There's always improvements. There's always, and you're always going to have kind of those feelings of like, oh God, I can see all of the cracks kind of a thing. But genuinely, I think of your portfolio as also a learning journey. Like, yes, you need to polish some projects, but it also is a representation of you learning and growing. And it's honestly amazing to look at my projects from a year and a half ago and be like, wow, I have learned so much. And in
Yeah.
a lot of ways, it is amazing to look back at that. Um, but I lost where I was going with that. But yeah, just
That's
agree.
okay. I think that that is there's no I mean that really is such a nugget for people to sit with, myself included. I have projects that are and they may not be coding, but they are uncharted and new and trying to figure out what's the best way and what's the best route. And sometimes it really is just pick one and then let it keep going. And just all you said it earlier, as long as you want to continue forward in that thing, you get to continue forward.
Yes.
And yeah, I just think it's really powerful. We're all learning this. And if you're feeling this and that's like striking you, then you're probably in the right the right field or right curiosity and right interest. So yeah, this has just been really. I'm excited to continue to get to know you because hopefully we'll do an update down the road. And we didn't even get to talk about the exciting things that you're doing now. So if you want to close with
Yeah.
something you are learning right now or that you're curious about currently, whether it's on your professional side or your personal side, and then we'll end it there.
Yeah. Well, I was very fortunate to be hired on full time as a junior software developer at the company I was placed at through the apprenticeship. So I'm working at Booz Allen Hamilton, and I, number one, can't even say enough like how much I've learned through the apprenticeship program in that 6 months. And that learning journey has just continued. Right now, I'm really excited to be digging into AWS, so Amazon Web Services. I'm learning about Lambda functions. I'm learning how to build apps that are integrating AI because, of course, that's the big focus right now. We're all racing to do that. Um, and I look forward to continuing to learn in that area. And yeah, good luck to anyone looking to do this. It's 100% worth the effort. And surround yourself with good people. Keep that positive learning mindset, and you can achieve it if you want to. If you want to do it.
That's so great. Well, I'm excited to see what you build with your new found skills. And yeah, thanks for the time. This has just been great. Good to get to know you better. And
Yes.
until the next update.
Thanks, Lauren.